Chosen one, there is something happening behind the scenes that you were never supposed to know. For a long time, you thought the attacks, the gossip, the strange energy around your name were random. You believed people simply misunderstood you. You believed that eventually the noise would stop. But what if I told you that there is one person who cannot stop talking about you? No matter where they go, no matter who they speak to, your name somehow enters the conversation. At first, people listened. At first, people believed every word. At first, people entertained the stories, the accusations, the criticism, and the endless obsession. But something has changed. The people around them are beginning to notice something strange. They are asking themselves a question. Why are they always talking about you? Why does every conversation somehow return to your name? Why are they so emotionally invested in someone who is supposedly unimportant? Chosen one, people are beginning to see what you could not see. The person who tried to damage your reputation has accidentally revealed their own condition. The more they speak about you, the more obvious their obsession becomes. The more they attack you, the more people question their motives, the more they focus on you, the more they expose themselves. And now, many people are secretly tired. They are exhausted, they are uncomfortable, because they realize this is no longer normal. This is no longer simple disagreement. This has become an obsession. Meanwhile, something incredible is happening to you. While they spend their energy discussing your life, God is transforming your life. While they replay old stories, heaven is writing new chapters. While they stare at your past, God is preparing your future. You see, chosen one, enemies often believe attention is power. They believe that if they constantly speak against you, they can stop your destiny. But destiny does not respond to human opinion. Destiny responds to divine timing. And your timing is approaching. The isolation you endured was preparation. The betrayal you survived was preparation. The rejection you experienced was preparation. Every painful season was secretly building the person you are becoming. The truth is that God often allows a chosen one to walk through misunderstanding before revealing their purpose. Joseph was misunderstood. David was misunderstood. Many chosen souls throughout history were misunderstood. But eventually truth arrived, and when truth arrives, everything changes. The same people who doubted begin asking questions. The same people who mocked begin observing. The same people who ignored begin paying attention. And that moment is closer than you think, because God is exposing the difference between obsession and purpose. One person is obsessed with your downfall. You are focused on your calling. One person is trapped in the past. You are walking toward the future. One person cannot stop watching you. You cannot stop growing, and growth always wins. So if you've been wondering why certain attacks continue, if you've been wondering why one individual seems incapable of moving on, understand this: their obsession is not proof of your weakness. It is proof of your impact. Because nobody becomes obsessed with something that has no power. Nobody constantly attacks something that poses no threat. Nobody dedicates their energy to something they truly believe is insignificant. The fact that they cannot stop talking about you reveals something they never wanted anyone to know. Deep down, they recognize your potential deep down. They sense your future deep down. They know God is doing something extraordinary in your life, and that truth terrifies them. But fear cannot stop destiny. Fear cannot stop God's plan. Fear cannot stop what heaven has already approved. So hold your head high. Keep moving forward. Keep trusting. Keep believing, because while they are talking, God is working. And what God is preparing for you will silence every voice that doubted your journey. Keynote 1. They can't stop talking about you because your growth exposes their stagnation. Chosen one. There is a reason certain people cannot stop mentioning your name. There is a reason they keep bringing you into conversations where you don't even exist. There is a reason they monitor your movements, discuss your decisions, and analyze your every step. It is because your growth forces them to confront something painful. Their own stagnation. Think about it. Every time they see you moving forward, they are reminded of the opportunities they ignored. Every time they see you healing, they are reminded of wounds they refused to address. Every time they see you transforming, they are reminded that transformation was available to them too. And that realization is difficult to accept. Most people believe jealousy is about possessions. But spiritual jealousy is different. Spiritual jealousy happens when someone witnesses another person becoming who they were afraid to become. That's why your presence affects them. You represent courage. You represent change. You represent possibility. And every time they see you rise, they are forced to face their own excuses. There was once a traveler who spent years climbing a mountain. The journey was difficult. Many people laughed at him. Many people said the climb was impossible. Many people insisted he would fail. But the traveler kept climbing. Years later, he reached heights nobody thought possible. The interesting part wasn't his success. The interesting part was the reaction of those who stayed behind. Instead of celebrating him, some became obsessed with criticizing him. They questioned his methods. They questioned his motives. They questioned his character. Why? Because his success exposed their unwillingness to try. Chosen one. This is exactly what happens when God elevates someone. Elevation creates revelation. Your growth reveals hidden hearts. Your progress reveals hidden intentions. Your success reveals hidden jealousy. And suddenly people who once appeared supportive begin acting strangely. They become uncomfortable. They become defensive. They become obsessed. Not because you harmed them, but because your existence reminds them of what is possible. The truth is that some people would rather criticize a miracle than become one. Some people would rather analyze your journey than start their own. Some people would rather gossip about your destiny than discover theirs. And this creates a dangerous cycle. The more you grow, the more frustrated they become. The more frustrated they become, the more they talk. The more they talk, the more people notice. Eventually, their obsession becomes impossible to hide. People start asking questions. Why are they still discussing this person? Why are they so emotionally invested? Why can't they move on? The answers become obvious. Because your growth is triggering something deep inside them. You are a living reminder that change is possible. You are a living reminder that healing is possible. You are a living reminder that faith works. And for someone who has surrendered to fear, that reminder can feel unbearable. But here's the beautiful part. God never promotes a chosen one to impress people. God promotes a chosen one to inspire people. Your story is not just about you. Your transformation is creating hope for people who feel trapped. Your resilience is showing others what faith looks like under pressure. Your courage is teaching people how to keep going when life becomes difficult. That is why the enemy works so hard to discredit you, because your life is becoming evidence. Evidence that darkness does not win. Evidence that betrayal does not win. Evidence that pain does not win. Evidence that God's purpose always survives. And the person obsessed with speaking against you can feel this, even if they cannot explain it. Even if they refuse to admit it, they sense that something larger than human effort is happening in your life. They sense divine favor. They sense spiritual momentum. They sense a future they cannot control. And because they cannot control it, they talk about it. Again and again, day after day, conversation after conversation. But every word they speak only confirms one thing: you are moving forward, because nobody obsesses over a person who is standing still. Nobody spends years discussing someone who has no influence. Nobody becomes consumed by something they genuinely consider irrelevant. Your growth has become undeniable. Your transformation has become visible. And your destiny is becoming impossible to ignore. So don't waste energy defending yourself. Don't waste energy explaining yourself. Don't waste energy fighting every rumor. God is handling what you cannot see. God is revealing what you cannot reveal. God is exposing what you cannot expose. Your assignment is simple. Keep growing. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Keep walking. Chosen one, there comes a moment in every chosen person's life when God stops hiding the truth. For a season, He allows people to misunderstand you. For a season, He allows people to judge you without knowing your story. For a season, He allows false narratives to spread. Not because He has abandoned you, not because He doesn't care, but because He is building something inside you that can only be built through pressure. You see, before a diamond shines, it must survive pressure. Before gold shines, it must endure fire. Before a chosen one steps into purpose, they must survive misunderstanding. And you have survived more than most people know. People saw your smile, but not your tears. People saw your strength, but not your battles. People saw your progress, but not the lonely nights. They saw the victory. They did not see the war. But God saw everything. He saw every prayer you whispered when nobody was around. He saw every tear that fell in silence. He saw every moment when you wanted to quit but decided to keep going. He saw every betrayal, every rejection, every disappointment, every heartbreak. And now heaven is responding. What many people don't understand is that spiritual promotion often attracts spiritual resistance. The higher God plans to lift you, the louder the opposition becomes. Not because opposition is powerful, but because opposition is afraid. Think about that. Fear is often the real reason behind obsession. The person constantly talking about you is not operating from confidence. They are operating from fear. Fear that your success will reveal their failures. Fear that your breakthrough will expose their negativity. Fear that your elevation will prove they were wrong. Fear that God's favor cannot be stopped. That fear keeps them talking. It keeps them watching. It keeps them focused on someone they claim not to care about. But every day they continue this behavior. People become more aware. At first people listened. Now people are questioning. At first people believed. Now people are doubting. At first people agreed. Now people are uncomfortable. Because healthy people recognize unhealthy obsession. And what once looked like criticism now looks like fixation. What once looked like concern now looks like jealousy. What once looked like honesty now looks like bitterness. God has a way of exposing truth without you saying a word. That is one of the greatest lessons a chosen one can learn. You do not always have to defend yourself. You do not always have to fight back. You do not always have to explain. Sometimes your silence becomes the loudest answer. Sometimes your peace becomes the strongest response. Sometimes your success becomes the greatest evidence. The people who are meant to understand will understand. The people who are meant to see the truth will see it. And the people who refuse to see were never meant to walk beside you anyway. There is a story about an eagle. When crows become annoyed by an eagle, they often attack it. They fly around it, they make noise, they try to distract it, they try to irritate it. But the eagle does not waste energy fighting every crow. Instead, it rises higher, and as it rises higher, the crows can no longer breathe at that altitude. Eventually, they fall away. The eagle wins not because it fights harder. The eagle wins because it flies higher. Chosen one, God is calling you higher, higher in wisdom, higher in faith, higher in discipline, higher in purpose, higher in peace. And as you rise, certain people will naturally fall away, not because you rejected them, but because they cannot survive where God is taking you. Your future requires a different mindset. Your future requires a different atmosphere. Your future requires a different level of faith. That is why separation is happening. That is why certain relationships ended. That is why certain friendships disappeared. That is why certain people became uncomfortable around you. God was creating space for your next season. Many chosen ones make the mistake of mourning people God removed. But some people were never assigned to your future. Some people were assigned to your lesson. There is a difference. Some people teach you discernment, some teach you boundaries, some teach you patience, some teach you resilience. And once the lesson is complete, the season ends. The mistake many people make is trying to reopen doors God intentionally closed. But God closes certain doors because He sees what you cannot see. He sees the future. He sees the hidden motives. He sees the conversations behind closed doors. He sees the energy being directed toward you. And because He loves you, He protects you. Even when you don't understand it, even when it hurts, even when it feels unfair. Years from now, you will look back and realize that what felt like rejection was actually redirection. What felt like loss was actually protection. What felt like isolation was actually preparation. And what felt like delay was actually divine timing. That is why you cannot judge your life by temporary circumstances. God is working on a timeline bigger than your current emotions. A farmer plants seeds and waits. The seed disappears into the ground. Nothing seems to happen. Weeks pass. Sometimes months pass. But underground, something is developing. Roots are forming. Strength is growing. Life is preparing itself. Then one day the seed emerges. People call it sudden success. But it wasn't sudden. It was prepared in secret. Chosen one, God has been preparing you in secret. While others were talking, God was building. While others were criticizing, God was strengthening. While others were doubting, God was preparing. And now signs of that preparation are becoming visible. Your mindset is changing. Your confidence is changing. Your discernment is changing. Your spiritual awareness is changing. You are no longer the same person you used to be. The things that once broke you no longer break you. The things that once distracted you no longer distract you. The things that once controlled you no longer control you. That is growth. That is transformation. That is evidence that God is working. And here's what many people don't realize. Your transformation is making certain individuals uncomfortable because it destroys the story they created about you. They wanted you to remain weak. You became stronger. They wanted you to remain confused. You gained clarity. They wanted you to remain stuck. You kept moving. They wanted your story to end in failure. God kept writing new chapters. Now they don't know what to do because reality no longer matches their narrative. So they continue talking. They continue repeating old stories. They continue focusing on your past because your present is too powerful for them to accept. But God is not finished. Your current season is not the conclusion. It is only the beginning. There are blessings you haven't seen yet.